Well, now the fixed assets we've been talking about mainly now have been the ones that you can see or put your hands on. The intangible assets you can't. Again, patents, goodwills, things like that. Those are numbers that are going to fall on your long-lived asset side, but they aren't as easily identifiable. Well, that's because they're intangible. So you want to make sure they exist. So you're going to review documentation to determine that intangible asset exists from some sort of agreement. Make sure that it's owned by your client, that they have the full rights to whatever that asset is that they're claiming on intangible assets, and then make sure the valuation is proper. Make sure the intangible assets valuation is based on some sort of contractual term, some sort of valuation, something put together that makes sense. Recalculate and verify any amortization, as well as the useful life, and then test any gain or loss on the disposal calculations. Finally, is that intangible asset impaired? And we'll talk about impairment in a second, but determine if the intangible asset carrying value is not justifiable. Has it been impaired? Suffered a loss? Is it unrecoverable? So these are things that we can apply to both tangible and intangible assets, but impairment usually talks about goodwill in which that goodwill does not exist anymore related to that acquisition that you have, and then must be brought down as it was impaired. So when it comes to asset impairment, some of the indicators and the questions you'll ask yourself as you're on the audit is, have circumstances changed that could affect that asset's value or cause an adverse action by a regulator? Again, if something like a patent, which you have on there as value, all of a sudden is superseded by some new patent that is better than your product, that's really going to affect the value of that patent for you. I mean, that's just a scenario and question you have to raise. Have there been any significantly excess costs over the originally expected amounts to acquire or construct an asset? Have you seen some significant things happen in the costing and construction of something that make you wonder if that's really related to the value of that asset? Are there losses or projected losses associated with the asset used to generate revenues? That goes back again to our patent question. If you no longer have the best patent for something that was before an important piece of what you're doing, and there's a better product out there where that patent runs out and now you can get generic versions of something, these are all important things that you need to understand as those assets relate to generating revenue. Is there a current expectation that an asset will be sold or disposed of significantly before the end of its previously estimated useful life? Again, has something happened that's changed the way that that asset will be used or the expectations of that asset? Then that needs to be reflected in whether we decide on an asset impairment. So substandard tests related to capital leases, because remember, capital leases wind up being part of our evaluation process, because if it's an operating lease, we can deduct it on our income statement. But if it's a capital lease, we have to reflect it on our balance sheet. We have to depreciate it. So it's important to understand you've got everything. So as you're looking at leases, you want to develop a schedule of all leases so that you can identify them as either capital operating. You're going to obtain those lease agreements to verify that. Ensure those capital leases are recorded at a proper value and include any future lease obligations in the scheduled lease so you know what your future is going to be like. But that way, too, any operating, we know that's operating, that can fall to our income statement. But the capital ones we have properly reflected as fixed assets, properly depreciated, properly valued at the present value of lease payments, and including any residual value that we brought back into the present value of that future residual value amount. So we're going to review related expense accounts to ensure that the client has properly classified the transactions as expenses rather than fixed assets. And that goes back to looking at where they might put an operating lease on accident, that as you're auditing, you're like, why did this number jump? Oh, they put an operating lease in there that really is a capital lease. When I examine it, I've got to take that expense out of there and put it to the right accounts. We're going to review the client's disclosures on lease obligations to determine if they are in accordance with GAAP. Fraud-specific related procedures, we're going to physically inspect tangible assets and agree serial numbers with the invoices or other supporting documents. We want to be suspect of any documents that are not originals. That's what we want is the original. For some reason, if they don't give it to us, make sure you do due diligence on that document. Make sure it's got a logo or a seal, depending on where it's coming from, so that you know that it's original. And that's why we jump down to the last step here before we come back. When possible, get confirmations from third parties related to in-process projects and understandings. So that could be part of this process too. So let's go back up to point 2, where we might use a specialist as needed for specialized fixed assets where maybe we don't understand. We're accountants, we don't necessarily understand everything that's out there, even though we like to think we do. I say that tongue in cheek, but we try to be a trusted provider to all, but there are some areas in which when it comes to valuations and things, we will not be the expert. So hiring a specialist to evaluate that is important. We're going to scrutinize appraisals and other special reports that seem out of line with reasonable expectations and challenge the underlying assumption of those. So it doesn't meet what I expected, I want to challenge it. And we're going to review and recalculate costs, goodwill, depreciation, amortization, and all the associated calculations used for valuation. So we want to just double check everything. And like I previously said, when possible, get a confirmation on any in-process project or any understandings that you want clarified.